All right, guys, so what we're looking at right now is the Yolobox Pro. Now, there's a recent update to the Yolobox Pro, which brings a lot of new features to the Yolobox. We're going to set it up. We're going to download and install the new firmware, which is 3.0, and we're going to take a look at a few of the new features that are now available on the Yolobox Pro. All right, guys, so here we go. Let's just go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and plug in this HDMI cable into the Yolobox, so you guys can see in real time what I'm seeing on the screen as well. And it's literally that simple. I can just take this cable. Now you'll see I'll be able to show you guys in real time what I'm doing here on the screen by just switching over to that screen. So when I go over here, now you're seeing the screen that is displayed on the Yolobox Pro itself. So the first thing that I'm going to have to do is, because it did not automatically try to push the update again, I'm going to go into this setting here. I'm going to go over to System Update. Nope, it's not System Update. It's actually Version. And here's our update. So you guys can see here, now on the Yolobox Pro, we're looking at the software version 3.0.0 and the firmware is 1.8.0. Okay, so here are some of the new features that will now be added to this device. You have the ability to crop video as a new video source with a custom aspect ratio. You also now have the ability to name your overlays. You can lock overlays to a video source. All settings for your video sources and multi-views are saved. You know, if you leave one of the scenes and you come back, they'll still be there for you. There's a new tab for comments on all platforms. We now have video and Gifs for the background in the multi-view. We have, you can set the border colors in the multi-view. That's pretty cool. Local videos can loop or stop at the end. So if you're playing a video, instead of it looping back and just continually playing over and over again, you can enable it to just stop at a certain point. Now, again, when we go to inviting guests now, the guests have the ability to set their own name. So when they do decide they want to come in and be in one of your live streams, they can put their own name. They can type their own name in and it will show up as a video source. So I'll know that that's Richard or that's Alan or that's L or whatever it is when it comes into this device. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's see here. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else. No, they're just doing some special thanks for people who requested some of these updates. So now all we have to do is hit the install just like that. And it's just going to go through and start to install all of these different features via firmware. This is all over the air. So that's what I was telling you guys before. One of the advantages to using one of these devices, because they're Android, they can easily update these and add new features to these in real time. All right, let me see what's going on down here in the comments. Make sure I'm not missing anything. All right. So we are at 24%. It's going to take a few minutes for this to completely update, but I'll just pop back over here so you guys can see what it looks like on the device itself. So right now, what's happening is updating the firmware. It usually will restart a couple of times once the firmware is, completely done. And I'm used to that happening, but as soon as that's done, we'll kind of do a quick little walkthrough and take a look at some of those features. Most of them I'll still be able to identify, but I'll just kind of do an overall walkthrough on the device. But while that's going on, I'm going to go ahead and also grab the Yolo Box Mini just so you guys can see it. So this is the Yolo Box Mini. So the Yolo Box Mini is a much smaller version of the Yolo Box Pro. Let me turn it on. The Yolo Box Mini is $698. Now, where they differ is, some of the things that you can connect to them. On the Yolo Box Mini, you can connect one HDMI camera, one USB camera. You have HDMI out. Of course, you have the ability to use Ethernet. You have line in and mic level on the audio. You can plug in a set of headphones, and this is where you plug in for power. Underneath the device, you can insert a SD card. and a SIM card. So you can use a SIM card with either one of these devices. There's your power button. And when you first get the device, this is what it looks like, whether it's the Pro, the OG, or the Mini. They don't have a cage or anything like that on it. Now, the one that I have here, the Yolobox Pro, does have a cage on it. That cage was sent to me by YC Onion. Now, this cage has two cold shoe mounts on the side. It has a bunch of little quarter 20s on the sides underneath it, and it has those jerk stoppers that I was showing you guys earlier. And what those do is it kind of prevents you from accidentally, you know, jerking one of your cables out, because these just fit down on top of the cables themselves, and then you can tighten them down from the back. Yeah, really handy. I like the weight of this cage, and it also provides a little bit of protection for the screen because the metal corners of it do come up around and above the screen. So I'm just trying to get this cable level. There we go. All right, guys, so we're just waiting. We're just waiting on the firmware to complete. Right now we're at 74%. So if I pop over here, you guys can see that now we're at 75%. So it's downloading and installing at the same time. It usually takes a few minutes to make it happen. So we're getting pretty close to that. So as soon as this is done, what we will do is go through some of the features, but I definitely want you guys to see the difference in the size between the Pro and the Mini. Now, it really just depends on which device you need for your specific setup. With the Pro, of course, you can connect 3 HDMI cameras. You can connect 1 USB camera. You have your HDMI out. You also have, you know, all the other things that I mentioned. But the Pro also has one additional port, which is USB-C. You do have USB-C out from this device as well, and you can use that for connecting to, say, for instance, a computer if you wanted to turn this into pretty much just a streaming deck. Now, on the Mini, you can use the USB for that as well, but then you're going to lose access to one of your cameras because you only have the ability to connect 2 cameras to this, 1 HDMI, 1 USB. So if you do use this the same way that I'm using, say, for instance, this Ninja over here, then you will lose the ability to bring a camera in on that USB. All right, so if you guys have any questions at all about these devices so far, drop them down in the comments, and I will do my best to answer them. So we're right at about 99%. So this should reset. Now it's going to just install and push the firmware. That usually goes pretty quick. All right, so this thing is resetting now. So it should completely reset here in just a second. And then if I switch back over to this view, you'll see everything is setting back up. Okay, so we have this little advertisement here for YoloCast. We're going to just go ahead and disable that. I'm just going to tap there. So now it should, I'm just going to swipe down here real quick so we can get to our previous live streams. So I'm just going to create really quickly here, guys, a duplicate live stream. You know, like I said, most of you guys who have used Yolo Boxes before, you probably know what some of this stuff looks like. I'm just going in here. I'm just going to create a basic setup. So I just gave it a couple of letters. Of course, you can add a description. Obviously, you can add a date and time. I'm doing none of that. You definitely want to do that if you're going to be going live like on Facebook or on YouTube or something like that, because people will be able to see the description. So we're just going to tap here and just kind of pop in, right? Now, of course, right now, we don't have a camera connected to this. Let me connect a camera to this real quick. All right, so I'm just going to connect this little Ozbot Meet camera like that. So I'm just going to connect this camera to it. And all I'm doing is plugging into the USB. So let me set this up for a second. And I'm going to plug right in here to our USB like this. Like that, lock that down. All right, so now all I have to do, show you guys how easy this is. So here's the Ozbot Meet camera. All I'm gonna do is plug this camera in just like that, and then I can just set this off to the side now. Now, in just a few minutes, the camera will be recognized by the device, and it will show up here as a video source, okay? So I see the tally light just turned on green, and now you can see right there, that is the video coming off of the camera. So that's the video of my desk in real time, right? So let's pop back over here. So you don't get confused, the picture-in-picture is coming from my switcher. the video source, the USB, is coming from the Yolo Box itself. Okay, so now again, we can still go in here, and as you see, we can bring in up to 3 HDMI cameras, 1 USB camera. We can still bring in local videos directly off of the SD card. So if I have a specific local video I wanted to choose, I could just do that and hit done, and then we'll see now we have our live USB, and we also have that local video. So if I tap on that local video, it will start to play, as you guys can see there. So now there's a bunch of new features that have been added, right? So some of those new features include things like, for instance, let's go down here and find our side-by-side. So we're going to do a side-by-side video. So let's tap this one as our first one. We're not going to go through all the features tonight. I just wanted you guys to see how fast it is to do an update. One of the new features now is that we can actually add a background behind the side-by-side. So let's say I choose this as the background. As you see, now that background is there. Or if I choose a different background, I could also do a video background. I can do any number of backgrounds, you know, behind it. I can also change the border thickness. So if you see between the videos, there's a little bit of border there, or I could go in the opposite direction where there's no border at all. Maybe I just want it to be a fine little border. And I can also go in and change the color of the border. So let's say if I wanted to make it a blue color like this, no problem. I can even swap the videos from either side of the screen by just enabling that. And then once you're ready, you just hit done. Then now that is a live feature that now you can activate. So if I just tap on that little side-by-side, and it's just going to switch over there. So now you guys are seeing the side-by-side video, and you also see the fact that it has the background. Now, of course, you can just tap on that if you want to. You can go in and customize that. So you could go back in and change. Now, if you do have a background that you want to use, maybe something that's already saved on your SD card, you could choose that as well. So maybe I want to use that as my background, and then I would choose that background. And just like that, now I have a totally different background. It's maybe a little bit more conducive to the border thickness and color that I did pre-set up. So now if I go back, all I have to do is tap on that, and then it's ready to go, right? So I can go back to any one of these sources, even back to the live video. So it's a ton of new features. I will be doing a full tutorial showing you guys how to benefit for some of these. Now, there are other things that have been added, and if I scroll down here under settings, now we have our replay settings and we have our storage settings. We also have our in-stream setting, our ending settings, and that's going to be for like your encode settings and stuff like that. All of these things are available under your settings. You just kind of go through and play with them and set them up as you need to. But like I said, I'll do a full video walking through all of those features as well. Now, of course, like I said, we do have all of these graphic overlays here that you can use. And if you don't already have graphic overlays, you do have 6 options built into these devices. You have image overlays, lower thirds, countdown timers, web graphics you can bring in from the web, titles, and social media overlays as well. And it's literally as fast as just picking one, deciding what platform you want to promote. Let's say it's LinkedIn, and then I could choose LinkedIn. I could go back. I could change my name or whatever it is for LinkedIn, add that, and the little keyboard will pop up and everything like that. So you got all of these built-in features. You can also stream, as I said before, up to 3 different destinations. If it's destinations of platforms that you're signed into, it could be YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Amazon, LinkedIn. All of those are available on this device. You can bring in live guests. So if you wanted to bring a guest into your stream, no problem. All you have to do is allow participants. Tap here where it says live guests or invite guests, and then a little dialog will pop up. That dialog is going to allow you to enter their email address, send them an email, and then what's going to happen there is all they have to do is enable their microphones and their cameras. Then they will come in as a live guest. And now with the new feature that allows them to also, add their name, that's pretty cool as well. You got your audio mixer here for all the different audio sources coming in. You can also do scoreboards. So if you're into sports, you're streaming a sport or something like that, you have the ability to do that from this device as well. Now, of course, like I said, we have a bunch of features built into this. Comments now are a little bit different. Now you have the option of comments being a all-in-one tab instead of it just being, like if it's YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch separated. Now they'll all be connected and you'll be able to see that, but you can go under settings and set it back to that if you want it. And you also have the ability to do auto switching, where if you wanted to set up like all of these different scenes, you just go here under your video sources. And let's say maybe I want this local video and the side-by-side to be my switchable videos. I could do done, and then I can come down here at the bottom and choose maybe the USB camera to be my main video. And then I can still tap here and change the duration of how long those videos are going to be on the stream at the same time or at any time. And then once you activate it, you would just tap here and it's going to start the countdown. So right now you can probably see it's counting down the local video. It's at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it's probably going to switch over to the main video source, which it did. So then it's going to count down from the main video source, which is the webcam. You guys see me here. That's going to count down 3, 2, 1, and then it's going to jump back to the next video source. And then that's going to count down from there, which is the side by side. And it's just going to keep repeating that based on how many things you have set up. But you do have the option of, you know, setting this to loop or also just setting it to go through one time. So if you turn loop off, it would only do it one time. So it's totally up to you. But like I said, guys, a lot of new features with the Yolo Box been added. You know, I went through a lot of them with you guys getting started. So if you guys do have any questions, leave them down in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. But until then, guys, we're just going to kind of roll on and move on to the next thing. So hopefully, you know, this demonstration has been helpful to someone who's just now trying to decide if the Yolo Box is going to be the perfect device for them. And now that you see some of the new features or you watch some of the outline of the new features that are available for it, this could be the perfect device for you. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments.